Whether he's an under tackle or defensive.
Starts for a touchdown. Desmond Howard says, anything Joey can do, I can do better. 63 yards, and it's 10-7. Harvey Williams in the fourth quarter, in for Napoleon Kaufman, who got injured. Williams goes 25 yards for a touchdown. It's 17-10 Oakland. Warren Moon, though, rallies. He hits Mike Pritchard, who falls down after a 28-yard gain, but that sets up Moon to find Christian Fourier. Fourier in the end zone, and that ties the game at 17 with a minute to go. Donald Hollis now, Seattle's defense had stopped him, but Jay Bellamy pulls him down by the face masks. The penalty gives Oakland a first down, keeps the drive alive. Then Hollis hits Tim Brown for 15 yards, and that sets up Greg Davis for the 38-yard game winner. 2017 Oakland, and Davis, who missed a 30-yarder earlier in the game, can't believe it. Donald Hollis wastes a pretty good game. Warren Moon didn't have a great game for Seattle. And moving on, the week's big game was in Atlanta, a sellout crowd at the Georgia Dome. Jamal Anderson goes in from 10 yards out in the first quarter, 7-0, the Falcons in the lead. Steve Young hits Jerry Rice for a touchdown, but Rice drops the ball just before the half. How many times will you see that? It was 7-3 at the half. It's 10-6 toward the end of the third quarter, and Ray Buchanan intercepts Young. He returns at 34 yards. Thinks he's going to lateral. It was lateral Sunday for everybody but Ray Buchanan last Sunday, yesterday that is. Buchanan down at the 1, and on the first play of the fourth quarter, Jamal Anderson took it in to make it 17-6. Now Young under pressure. Shane Dronette sacks Young. He fumbles, and it's picked up by Jesse Tuggle, and Tuggle just rolls into the end zone for a touchdown, making it 24-6 Falcons a minute into the fourth quarter. But Steve Young wasn't finished by a long shot, and it was a long shot to Terrell Owens. Owens, with that patented spin move, takes it into the end zone. 54 yards on that touchdown. Spins the ball away. And Young then looking for Jerry Rice. Figures Rice isn't going to drop 2 touchdown passes in one game. No way. Jerry Rice takes it 65 yards from Young, and all of a sudden it's 24-19, and there's still 3 minutes to play. But thinking that the Falcons were going to be killing the clock, not a very convincing play action, but it was enough for Chris Chandler to find Terrence Mathis. R.W. McQuarters turned inside out, and Mathis goes 78 yards for the winning touchdown. Atlanta beat San Francisco, pleasing that sellout crowd, and they take over first place in the NFC West. The Steelers down at Tennessee, and Matt George, replacing the injured Norm Johnson as a kicker, has that field goal attempt blocked by Pratt Lyons. That was going to come back to haunt the Steelers. Now in the second quarter, Pittsburgh up 7-3. Aaron McNair hits Willie Davis 25 yards for the touchdown. It's 10-7 to the Oilers. Still in the second, still 10-7. Cordell Stewart hits Chris Faumadu Malafala. He takes it 26 yards on the screen pass, 14-10 Steelers. Now in the fourth quarter, Steelers leading 14-13. They go for it on 4th and 1. Gary Walker sacks Cordell. They didn't try the field goal because of Matt George having that one blocked, and it did come back to haunt them because Aaron McNair looks for his favorite clutch receiver, Frank Wycheck. He scrambles out of trouble and hits Wycheck, who takes it 31 yards before being upended and doing the little flip there. Now on the fake to Eddie George, McNair rolls out, hits Derek Mason for 19 to keep the drive alive. George then ran 12 yards to set up Al Del Greco, who remembered to come on the field. He hits the 22-yard field goal for a 16-14 lead, and 1 play left. The Oilers try the squib kick. It's taken by Mark Bruner. Remember, I told you this was lateral Sunday in the NFL. Bruner to Mitch Lyons. Lyons to Fred McAfee. Fred McAfee to Is Anybody Still There? Just throws it up for grabs. Will Blackwell, he can't hang on to it. Michael Rohn picks it up in the end zone for a touchdown, sealing Jeff Fisher and Tennessee's win. A good game for Aaron McNair. Cordell Stewart, his best game as a quarterback, but all for naught. Both teams stopping the other team's run game. And the Jets flew into Indianapolis for what would be a big upset. Aaron Bailey taking the kickoff here, 44 yards, and getting an extra 15 when kicker John Hall decides to get tough with him. Ha. That set up the Jets for a 16-10 lead. Peyton Manning now on the scramble. It's 1 second left in the half. Mike Vanderjag decides to try the 63-yard field goal. It goes off wide to the left, and Aaron Glenn is there. He takes it in the end zone. Watch this attempt by a tackle. Whoops! Somebody else take him. I don't have him. And Glenn goes 104 yards with a missed field goal. You don't see many of those returned nowadays because the ball's spotted at the point of the kick. But Glenn, on the last play of the half, takes it 104 yards, and that 6-point lead gives the Tuna a 13-point lead at halftime. But it was not to last. 23-17 in the fourth quarter. Peyton Manning, he hit Marvin Harrison for 38 yards and a touchdown in the third quarter. Hits Marshall Faulk out of the backfield, hits Jerome Pathan for another first down. Faulk out of the backfield again. They're really using him a lot as a receiver, and that sets up the pass from the 14 to tight end Marcus Pollard, and Pollard just bulls his way into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown with 24 seconds to play. Indianapolis and Peyton Manning upset the New York Jets. Vinny Testaverde, not a great game. Curtis Martin, the most yards running of anybody in the NFL this weekend. Marvin Harrison, 9 catches for the Colts. And also in the AFC East, Doug Flutie and the Buffalo Bills entertained New England in a big game for both teams, trying to keep pace with Miami and the Jets at the top of the division. The Bills did it on the ground. Flutie with a lateral to Thurman Thomas after the scramble. That play went for 20 yards combined. Flutie on the scramble can do it all by himself, takes it for 22, and watch the way he slides in here. Finally decides, well, I've run enough. Here we go. Whoop, I'm down. Thurman Thomas's block goes for nothing. 2 field goals by Steve Christie made it 6-0. Buffalo in the lead. Drew Bledsoe to his main man, Ben Coates. Coates shrugging off a few tacklers and goes 33 yards. But the problem for the Patriots, no touchdowns. They couldn't get the field goals. Adam Vinatieri missing 2 key field goals that could have given them the lead. But with Buffalo getting the only touchdown on a pass to Jay Reersma, the touchdown pass from the Patriots to Tony Bledsoe to Tony Simmons was wasted, and Buffalo escapes with a 3-point win. And finally, at the top of the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins, Dan Marino. Remember, this is Dolphin on the ground. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar having his best game in the NFL. 23 yards here early in the game. Abdul-Jabbar again, another 23 off the line of scrimmage, setting things up for his 1-yard touchdown on the ground. A couple of field goals by Carolina answering that. We're 7-6 in the second quarter. Abdul-Jabbar running the ball again for 20 yards plus to set up Olindo Mare for a field goal, and it was 10-6 at the half. Steve Berline now hitting Mushin Muhammad for what they thought would have been a touchdown, but Brock Marion knocking the ball out of his hands. Look at that play by Brock Marion. Marion would get hurt later on in the game and be out, but it was just a battle of field goals the rest of the way. And with less than 2 minutes to go, Abdul-Jabbar fumbled, but Stanley Pritchard recovered to save the game for the New York Jets. 127 yards for Abdul-Jabbar on the ground, 13-9 Miami. And Randall Cunningham had his knee scoped on Monday. On Sunday, he was running 3 yards for a first quarter touchdown. 7-0. It's now 7-3 with Minnesota in the lead. Neil O'Donnell gets hit by John Randall and fumbles. Dwayne Rudd picks the fumble up and runs like a halfback. 63 yards for a touchdown. That made it 14-3 Minnesota in the third quarter. O'Donnell got benched. Jeff Blake came in to try to ignite Cincinnati's offense, and he got picked off by the New England Patriot reject Jimmy Hitchcock, who's having a pretty good year at corner for the Vikings. And remember Randy Moss? He's been quiet for a couple of weeks, but not for much longer. Randall throws it up, and guess who's at the other end of that one? Randy Moss takes a beautiful pass on the run. Final score 24-3. The Viking defense doing the business. Cunningham showing no ill effects. For Charlie Batch, the rookie quarterback on the scramble, hits touchdown. Tommy Vardell, he got that nickname at Stanford, and he gets his first touchdown of the game here. In the NFL, he hasn't really been touchdown Tommy, but here comes his second touchdown of the game in the second quarter. That makes it 14-3, Detroit in the lead. Of course, when you're talking about running in Detroit, it's Barry Sanders. He gains 11 on this play. On his way to 114 for the game. Sanders into the line, bounces right off, heads for the goal line, pushed out of bounds on the 1. And then guess who gets to take it in? Old touchdown Tommy for his third touchdown of the game. That made it 23-3 to Detroit. That was about all that she wrote. Eric Kramer trying to get things started for the Bears, but Ron Rice knocks that one away. Kevin Abraham drives Kramer's face into the turf. And Robert Porscher sacks Kramer here. One of those days for Kramer's looking more like Kramer from Seinfeld than Eric Kramer, the NFL quarterback. The Bears come out with one field goal. The Lions come away with an easy win. Charlie Batch with his best game in the NFL. Barry Sanders back to 100 yards per game. Steve Stenstrom played quarterback most. There weren't many highlights in this one. Brett Favre to Tyrone Davis on the quickie for one touchdown. Favre finding Tyrone Davis for a 60-yard touchdown here. Davis just outrunning the secondary, which is pretty good for a tight end. And that was it. The Packers on their way to a 37-3 win against the Giants. Danny Cannell finally benched at the end of the game. Kent Graham didn't have much better luck. Derek Holmes, 111 yards on the ground. Ray Rhodes still looking for some offense in Philadelphia. They were at Washington, and the Skins were up 21-3. When Chris Dishman intercepts Bobby Hoying on that, actually it was more like a fumble, but it counts as an interception. Skip Hicks ran in for 3 touchdowns for the Skins, replacing Davis, and Trent Green actually had a 56-yard touchdown pass as well in that game to Albert Connell. Skip Hicks almost 100 yards on the ground for the Redskins.
Dipping into your factors again quickly.
The wildest game of the weekend. Dallas up 21-0 in the second quarter. Deion Sanders hurt his toe, but still makes the interception, nearly gets it into the end zone. 28-0 Dallas, 28-7 at the half, and when Emmitt Smith went over in the third quarter, 35-14. Now it's 35-21, and Jake Plummer with the touchdown pass to Adrian Morrell, making it 35-28. And in the last seconds of the game, Plummer firing deep, hits Rob Moore. Moore takes it right down to the 4-yard line before he gets tackled. 2 incompletions from Plummer. Here comes the second one, 7 seconds to go. Plummer throws it up one more time for one more play. Guess who it's going to go to? Rob Moore in the corner against Kevin Smith. Interference or no? Make your call now, because take another look. Kevin Smith wrapping up Rob Moore like a blanket. And Dallas comes out with the win, 35-28. Look at those numbers for Jake Plummer: 465 yards, 3 TDs. Frankie Sanders, 11 catches. Emmitt Smith, 118. More highlights from yesterday. Tampa Bay at Jacksonville, 7-3. The Jags in the lead. Fred Taylor goes over from 3 yards out in the second quarter to make it 14-3 Jags. But on the very next drive, Trent Dilfer goes back. Riddell Anthony is the receiver. 47 yards for the score, 14-10. Jacksonville now leading 2017 at the start of the fourth quarter, and Dilfer's back into business on the first play of the quarter. He hits Anthony again on the catch and run. Anthony takes it 79 yards, and the Bucs are in the lead, 24-20. Now with the score 24-23, under 3 minutes to go. Watch Fred Taylor go. Taylor takes it 70 yards for the touchdown. They go for the 2-point conversion and fail, but that makes it 29-24, Jacksonville in the lead. Dilfer now under 2 minutes trying to get Tampa Bay back, and he's intercepted by Aaron Big Play Beasley, and Tony Dungy and the Dragons having more problems. Tampa Bay fall to 4-6. Jacksonville are 8-2.
And so it's a touchdown there for Kansas City.
Completions on the opening drive. They go 62 yards. Kerry Collins hearing something he hasn't heard in a long time, which is cheers from a crowd. Cameron Cleland, the rookie tight end, makes the 10-yard touchdown pass, and the Saints lead 7-0. Tony Banks, a quarterback for the Rams. Guess what? Interception. Tyrone Drakeford takes it in 32 yards for the touchdown. 14-0 Rams in the lead. Now we move into the second half. Tony Banks sandwiched by Jared Tomich and Joe Johnson, and Tony Banks gives up a fumble, as we've seen him do before. Recovered in the end zone by Austin Powers. That's a little joke there. And the New Orleans Saints go ahead 24-3, the final score. Bad day for Tony Banks, good day for Kerry Collins.
And at halftime, we eavesdrop on the inimitable Mike Ditka, of course.
Story looming larger and larger. Only 3 teams in the history of this league went through undefeated regular seasons. The Bears in 34 and the Bears in 42, only to lose in the playoffs. And the playoffs in those days It was one game. It was a championship game. That's all they played in postseason, and the Bears lost both championship games. And then, of course, Miami went 14-0, won the 3 in postseason. So Denver trying to not only duplicate that feat, but really exceed it, because now with a 16-game season in the playoffs, you're looking at 19-0. Pat Bowlen, message from the NFL, and a word from our ABC stations.
And the big news from Baltimore at San Diego was Natron Means, who broke his foot and may be out for the rest of the season. Right there, you see Natron going down, and there he is limping his way back into the veil. Now, with the score of 14-13, the big play of the game, Jermaine Lewis on the punt return. Lewis goes 90 yards. Look at Darren Bennett. The Australian punter trips him, which is illegal. Should it be a penalty? But Jermaine Lewis down by contact on the trip. It's not a 90-yard touchdown. It's called back. There's the call. It's a first down from the spot, and they get away with it. Craig Wheelahan, 15 for 42, but one of them was a 47-yard touchdown to Charlie Jones. Jermaine Lewis had a 58-yard touchdown from Jim Harbaugh, but neither was enough. 14-13, the Chargers win.
It's a nice tight one there, and there's all the highlights from Week 11 for you.
Darren Bennett.